Okay, let's just wait for it to do it. Wonderful. Let me just make sure it doesn't. Yeah, that's it. Okay, very good. Now then, let's go back to where we were. Lost it. There we are. Good. Fantastic. All right, excellent. Let's start off with our prayer. Okay. Can't find it. Never despair. Right. Now, a moment. No. For some reason, we can't find the prayer. We'll try again. That's all we want. That's it. There you go. All right, here we go. Good. All right then. So I always want to, right now, I want to pray for the hostages and that God should bring them out from darkness into light in the way that is right for him. But I'm thinking of them all the time. We're all praying for them all the time. And also for the soldiers and for those who have been wounded for Refuah Shlema. ריבון העולמים ואדוני אדונים, אב רחמן והסליחות, מודים אנחנו לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו, בקידה ובהשתחוויה שקרבתנו לתורתך ולעבודתך עבודת הקודש. ונתת לנו חלק בסודות תורתך הקדושה, מה אנו ומה חיינו, אשר עשית עמנו חסד גדול כזה. על כן אנחנו מפילים תחנוננו לפניך, שתמחול ותסלח לכל חטאותינו ועוונותינו, אבל יהיו עוונותינו מבדילים בינינו לביניך, וכן יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו, שתכונן את לבבינו ליראתך ולבבך, ותקשיב אוזניך לדברינו אלה, ותפתח לבבינו הערל בסודות תורתך, ויהיה לימודנו זה נחת רוח, לפני כיסא כבודך כריח ניחוח. ותציל עלינו, אור מקור נשמתנו בכל בחינתנו, שיתנוצצו ניצוצות עבודך הקדושים, אשר על ידם גלית דבריך אלה בעולם, וזכותם וזכות אבותם, וזכות תורתם ותמימותם וקדושתם, יעמוד לנו לבל נכשל בדברים אלו, ובזכותם תראיננו במה שאנו לומדים, כמאמנאים זמירות ישראל, גל עיני והביט הנפלאות מתורתך, כי אדוני תן חוכמה מפאת ותבונה, יהיו לרצון נמרי פי, ויגון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, great. Now then, I'm going to share my screen again. Share screen. Right, here we go. I want to do something different today, which I've never tried before on this particular shiur. So, first time for everything. Okay. Rabbi Ashlag wrote 2 Perushim on it, which are included in the Parasha HaSulam. Now, the usual Perush HaSulam is that he looks at the actual words of the Zohar and he explains them according to the words of the Ari, and he's usually looking at the particular situation or the particular description in the Zohar, and he explains it in its particular context. Okay, so whatever it is he's explaining. He explains the spiritual stage that it's talking about, explains its inner meanings, and that's the way he learns. And he basically applies the principles of light and vessel and the interaction which come from the Torah of the Ari to the piece of Zohar, and that's how he explains it. But there are occasional places in the Zohar where he'll give a sort of more general explanation as well, where he'll take the idea and expand it and give sort of more like general rules of how this process is actually working. And you can see here, if I scroll down the page, or I make this 1 second, if I just go zoom out a bit, you can see that on this page, you've got the Zohar at the top, which is Akev. You've got the Sulam commentary here.
Yedida, you haven't zoomed out.
I haven't? There you go. Yeah.
Not on what we see.
Well, oh, wait a minute. Stop share. I'll reshare. That should have done it. Okay.
Right.
Okay, thanks. All right. So what you can see now, you've got the Zohar at the top, and you've got the Sulam commentary here, which is the regular type of Sulam commentary where he translates and explains the words of the Zohar. And then you've got another commentary here called Marot HaSulam. Okay, and this is this other commentary where he looks at the general principles involved. And I want to look at that a bit today, okay? As well as looking at the issue of the blessings, all right? As it is in the commentary of the Sulam. And although it's a bit technical, I think we can manage it, okay? I think we're going to be able to handle it. We're going to have a try anyhow, all right? Okay. So let's start off. And of course, if there are any questions or you get stuck and you don't understand a word I'm saying, just call out, all right? Or raise your hand or put it in the chat or do something, okay? But don't just sit there and suffer, all right? Okay? Because when you want to ask a question, believe you me, there's about another 100 people all wanting to ask the same question, all right? So you're just the channel to open up a difficulty or open up a question. So don't feel shy or don't feel that you don't understand something. If you don't understand, just say so, okay? And then I'll know. All right, so let's start off with the Zohar. This is a piece which was channeled by Raya Mehimana, Moshe Rabbeinu, very precious. So this is the beginning of the Parasha, and it will be when you hearken to these ordinances. And then there's a few extra sentences, and then it goes on. Va'achalta v'savata u'verachta et Hashem Elokecha. And then you shall eat, and you shall be satisfied, and you shall bless the Lord your God. Pikud da levarcha leila kutchabrichu. Al kol ma da'achil v'shatei v'thanei b'hai olma. This mitzvah is to bless the Holy Blessed One for everything that a person eats and what he drinks and what he has pleasure with in this world. Now, we can certainly leave it like that because it's absolutely true, okay? What we eat and what we drink, we certainly have blessings to say before that and after that. But we can actually widen these concepts a little bit because the words eating and drinking in the Kabbalah are actually code words which represent achila. Eating represents all that we do in giving, okay? You have to do an awful lot of giving, if you think about it, a lot of work in order to eat, right? If you think about, go back to the fact that the farmer has to sow the seed, he has to prepare the land, he has to sow the seeds, he has to look after them, give them water, whatever, let them grow, then he has to harvest them, and he has to take them to the mill or something, thinking about wheat seed, and he has to grind them into flour, and then that flour has to be bagged up and then distributed into smaller bags and brought to the supermarket, and then we have to go to the supermarket, get the bags, bring them home, and turn them into challahs or something, okay? And by the time the challah reaches the table, we've actually done a lot of work, okay? And then, of course, when you eat, you've got the whole work of digestion, all right? And you think about that difference between drinking, where you just go to the nearest well or whatever, open the tap in this case, and get a glass of water and drink. And again, I mean, the body itself just simply absorbs the water. It doesn't have to do any work. So eating is a word which symbolizes giving, all the work of giving, and drinking is receiving, okay? So if we now look at this phrase in the Zohar and have a look and see what it says. So this mitzvah is to bless the Lord, the Holy Blessed One, for everything that we are allowed to give and everything that we receive, okay? V'etanei b'hai olman, everything that we have pleasure with in this world. V'ei lo barich, and if a person doesn't bless, ikri gazlan legabei kudsha b'richu, he's called a thief with regard to the Holy Blessed One. Dichtiv, gozel aviv v'imo, one who robs his father and his mother. This is from Proverbs. Va'ukmu hachavaya, and this is what the companions have established, that this phrase, and he robs his father and his mother, actually applies to, he's referencing the Holy Blessed One. Begin the brachan de barich barnash lekodsh barichu, because the blessings which a person, the brich barnash lekodsh barichu, which a person which because the blessings which a person blesses with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, atila am shrachain mimakori dachayim, are intended to bring life force, connection from the source of all life, l'shmei d'Kodesh B'richu Kadisha, to God's holy name, and to pour upon it the highest light. And from there, to bring forth light and pour it down onto all the world. Okay? Shefa Chochmah, the bounty of God's light. So that's the purpose of the blessing. So I want now to look at the Marot HaSulam, go into it in depth, and actually look and see, how does this function? Okay? All right? And the reason I want to look at it is because I think when we understand deeply how prayer functions and how blessings function, we have a much greater appreciation for what we're actually doing when we are making a blessing or when we're making a prayer. And as you're going to see, the two things are pretty equivalent. Biur HaMa'amar, explanation of this article, okay? We'll read a bit in the wider explanation, and then if we've got time, we'll go back to the regular Parasha Sulam. Well, we'll see how far we get. Kol hana'ah she'adam HaKadosh Baruch Hu, every enjoyment that that a person has pleasure with from the Holy Blessed One, im avarech alei, if he makes a blessing over it, hu ma'aleh otah hana'ah, he raises up that enjoyment, im kavanat habracha, with the intention of that blessing, lebechinat mayin nukvin, to an aspect of raising the lack upwards, elamalchut, to the Shekhinah. Okay, and I just want to stop there and explain what we're talking about. All right. Now then. Oh, I seem to have closed. I had some pictures opened earlier and I seem to have closed them by accident. Let me open them again. And it won't take me a moment. And we will have a look and see something which is very interesting and helps us a lot to understand what Rabbi Ashlag is saying here. Now, we open a picture, that one will do. Okay. Right, now stop share, share screen, reshare. There we go. All right. Now, this is a diagram, okay? And we're not going to freak out over the terms or anything like that. We're just going to look at a pattern, all right? This is a pattern which, this piece here, okay, which is the worlds, how the worlds of Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah are actually patterned on this pattern. This is where you have the connection of compassion with judgment actually coming in. All right. We know that the Midrash, that God first created the worlds through judgment, and then he saw that the world could not survive through that, and he joined compassion with judgment. What does this mean? Basically, it means like this. The light, which is present in the first world that comes out, which is called Adam Kadmon, it's much too great for the souls, okay? We don't have the capacity to handle anything like that. You know, on a laptop, okay, when you buy a laptop, and you used to buy a laptop, it had a sort of box thing, all right, before you put the plug into the socket, all right? Now they just have a bigger plug, all right, sort of box thing actually connected to the plug. And what this is, it's sort of a step down mechanism, because if you were to plug a laptop straight into the big voltage which is in the wall, the laptop would just, you'd fry the laptop, okay? The laptop cannot take such a huge voltage and needs a step down mechanism to enable the laptop to work with, you know, because the computers and things are very, very sensitive. And if you were to plug it straight into the same electricity that the fridge uses, for example, the laptop you'd just fry the laptop. So in a similar way, the souls, we do come from the Ein Sof. It's perfectly true. We go through the next world, which is called Adam Kadmon, and we go through the worlds until we come to the realities which are close to our world, okay? And the soul goes through each one, Adam Kadmon, Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, Asiyah. But before the world of Atzilut, there first takes place what's called Tzimtzum Bet, where this step-down mechanism first comes into place, which is described by the Midrash as the joining of compassion with judgment. And what it does is it divides each Partsuf, spiritual entity, into half, okay? So the big vessels of receiving are actually inactivated, okay? And they're actually pushed out of the level and actually go down to the level below. And what's left in the spiritual level are the vessels of giving only. All right? So this is called the mindset of Katnut. All right? And that's actually our usual mindset, okay? We are able to connect with God through giving, through faith, but we don't have much experience of receiving, okay? And that's actually to safeguard us, because we could not handle too much light. We're not built for it, Okay, you have to work up to something like that. We can't do it. So those vessels of receiving are pushed down out of the level that they originally were in, and they come to the level below. Okay? Now, this is very interesting because this level of what's called katnut, katnut means small, okay? It's actually got lots of hidden benefits to it. And one of the hidden benefits is that these vessels, which actually belong to a higher level, okay, join sideways with the higher vessels of a lower level, okay, like a staircase. Yeah. So it's like the higher level is reaching a hand down to the lower level. Yes. So it's building this mechanism where vessels from a higher level are actually making partnerships. Okay. Those join up. All right. With a lower level. And you can see this sort of step down effect goes on and on and on. Actually, it goes on through all the worlds from Tzimtzum Bet onwards, okay? Which is very interesting. Now, that's one aspect that we need to know. And another aspect is that we have Keter and we have Chochmah, Bina, Zeir Anpin, and the Malchut. Those are the Sfirot in their order. Now, Chochmah and Bina, in many ways, are two opposites. The Sfirah of Chochmah wants to receive the light of God. That's its function, okay? Keter wants just to give the light of God, and Chochmah says yes, okay? And it's there to receive the light of God because Keter wants it to. So it receives the light of God. And then Bina, it sort of like wakes up and says, well, that's great. Okay, all very well, but it senses the receiving of the light, and it says, well, and it senses that light, and it says, I want to be like the light. I want to be giving because the nature of the light is actually giving. I personally find that to actually understand the Sfirot and how they develop one from another, it's more easy to think of them more as a waveform than as individual Sfirot, okay? They actually do develop one from another. And I like this because also in physical, if you're looking at physics, light itself can be, you can do experiments to show that light itself either acts as waves or as particles. And the Sfirot, you can see them as individual stages, but you can also see them as more of a waveform. Okay, I see there's something in the chat. Just want to finish what I'm saying, and then I'll look what's in the chat. Okay, and so Chochmah, which is receiving the light, it then moves in a way. The vessel of Bina sort of feels, wow, it's sort of like I can feel this light. I can feel it within me, and this light is all giving. And because every branch wants to be like its root, Bina decides, I want to be a giver. I want to be giving. That's what I want to do. So Bina itself has got more than one aspect to it. Its beginning is the receiving of the light of Chochmah. Its middle aspect, if you like, is, oh, I prefer to be a giver. Ki chafetz chesedu. I want to be giving. And then it's got a third aspect as well, which is a further development as it begins to give and give and give and give and give. It finally realizes, oh, I am actually a vessel. I do actually need to receive a little bit of light because I'm a vessel. Okay. And that begins to be the Zeir Anpin and the Malchut. So the end of Bina actually says, oh, I do actually need to receive for the children, which are the Zeir Anpin and Malchut. So this is why Chochmah is considered as Abba, as the father, Ima is the mother, and the children are the Zeir Anpin and the Malchut. and that's the relationship between them. So far, in a normal circumstance, in this sort of circumstance where of Tzimtzum Bet, you'd actually find that the Chochmah and the Bina are considered back to back. Chochmah is wanting to receive the light. Bina is interested in giving. Okay, so they're not in affinity. They're turned away back to back. Okay, now somebody was in the chat. Where is Bina on the chart? Bina is Ima there. Okay, all right.
Ima.
Yes, it's Ima. Don't worry too much about the technical bits. I'm just using this as a diagram, okay? And I just want you to get the idea rather than looking at diagrams, to be honest, okay? And sometimes, just to see, I just want you to see how the spiritual entity is divided into two, and how you have the staircase, and how Abba and Ima at this point, which is called Katnut, are simply not interested in each other particularly. Chochmah is busy receiving, it's looking towards Keter. Ima is saying, oh, I want to be giving, okay? And that's the way they are, okay? And that's what's called Katnut. All right? Okay, very good. Now then, let's get back to where we were. So let's go back a moment. Explanation of the article. Oh, wait a minute. Can you see that? I'm not sure you can. I forgot to share it, I think. Share screen. There you go. Right. Explanation of the article. Every enjoyment that a person enjoys from the Holy Blessed One, if he makes a blessing over it, he raises up this pleasure with the intention of the bracha to the aspect of mein nukvin el malchut. Mein nukvin means raising the lack upwards. What does it mean? It means that the children, okay, which is the Zeir Anpin and the Malchut, have now got access, okay, to Abba and Ima, to the Ima through this staircase, yes? All right? Because that was formed, all right? So if the child, if you like, the Malchut says, oh, I need some light of Chochmah, I need the light of Chochmah, I'm giving faith, I'm giving a prayer, I'm giving faith, okay, that's called raising the lack upwards. What's that going to do? It signals to the mother, which is Bina, to say, we need some light of Chochmah. And Bina says, oh, right, okay. Now, like I say, she's not interested in receiving, but if the children ask for it, she will. Okay, so what actually happens is that the prayer or the blessing, they both work in the same way, actually change the orientation of Bina towards Chochmah. And instead of being back to back, okay, as they are in the picture that we saw, they in fact become face to face. And then the light simply can flow from Keter all the way down to Chochmah, to Bina, to the children, and the light can flow. Okay? So and the reason is because the children, through this staircase, have now got access to ask their requests. Okay? All right, so let's see what actually happens. So if a person can raise up his pleasure with the intention of the blessing, to ask, mein nukvin is to ask, okay, to raise the request upwards, okay, to ask. And it goes up to the Malchut, which is the Shekhinah. And through this request, the Zeir Anpin and the Malchut both go up to Bina, okay? All right, and there they receive both the light and the desires, the appropriate vessels, from which the bounty can now flow all the way down to all the worlds. What are all the worlds? The human beings. Every single person is a world. Ubishvil zeh. And it's for this reason. Machaneh Kodesh Baruch Hu et Adam. This is the reason why the Holy Blessed One gives the person pleasure, so that he will make the blessing and do this work, okay? Which will then join the higher worlds together, the Chokhmah and the Bina together, and then the light can flow. Nimtza. So therefore we see, she'im adam nehene, if a person had enjoyment, pleasure, v'lo biurech, and didn't make the blessing, harei hu gozel et HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He really is robbing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, okay? Because he's not causing the light to flow in the way that it should. V'zeh shekatuv, and this is what is written in that piece of Zohar that we read at the beginning. V'i lo barich, if he doesn't make a blessing, ikre gazlan l'gabei kodesh baruch hu. He's called a thief with respect to the Holy Blessed One. Dichtiv gozel aviv v'imo. He's like robbing his father and his mother. Who's his father? That's the Zerampin. The Zerampin is like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Imo is his mother, is the Malchut, which is the Shekhinah. Ki ha-neshamot hin toldot shel Zerampin u'Malchut. Because the neshamot, the souls, are the consequences like of the Zerampin and Malchut. The Malchut gives rise to the neshamot. Okay? And we have this access, like this step-down access exists at every level. Okay? Bet. ונודע שגדלות וזיווג זרענפין ונוקבה אינם אלא רק בעת התפילה. And we know that this receiving of the light, okay, which is called gadlut, okay, the regular situation where we don't receive God's light, you know, I mean, we don't receive God's light, we do, but I mean, we don't receive an experience of the divine light suffusing our consciousness at every moment, okay? In fact, mostly it's hidden from us, okay? And that gives us the space to be able to have faith, to be able to pray, to be able to make the blessing, all right? So mostly that light is hidden from us. And as we know, father and mother are turned back to back. That's okay. And that's our experience, that they are back to back and that light is not flowing in our general life. I you know, in, you know, the 6 days of the week, okay, on Shabbat and Chagim, it's different. But on the 6 days of the week, the ordinary weekdays, okay, our regular experience is that we need to give faith and we need to make the blessing and we need to do the work, we need to do the tefillah, okay? So this consciousness, this light of consciousness is only to be found rak be'et tefillah, only during the time of tefillah, the amidah and, you know, the prayer. Aval shelo b'shat tefillah, but when we're not actually, you know, in the amidah, zivugam nifsak, or, you know, in the I'm not quite certain exactly, you know, is it in the Psukei Tzimra as well or whatever. I mean, don't ask me those tricky questions. I really don't know. But you know what I mean. When we're standing in Amidah, when we're standing before God, then we have that union. But when we're not there, when we're not at that moment, zivugam nifsak, then the Abba and the Ima are not turned towards each other. We go back to everyday consciousness, and the aspect where this bit means above ktavot just means that we have the ability only to give, like we saw in the picture. Only the vessels of giving were actually active. And blessings and prayer works the same way. Okay, this is why blessings are really important. Okay, it's an opportunity which comes throughout the day, all right, where we can actually bring Chokhmah and Bina to be face to face and bring blessing to the whole world. And so therefore we need, with every blessing, to again bring Gadlut. Gadlut means this light to the Zer Ampin and the Malchut each time again. All right? Because what we're doing is we are, by this staircase effect, we're saying the blessing, and the blessing goes up and turns the Ima to face the Abba, face to face. And then that makes it's like joins up the light, joins up the channel, and then the light can flow all the way. So each time we make the blessing, we are bringing this great light. Again, we're bringing the consciousness to the Zer Ampin and the Malchut all over again. Okay? The Zer Ampin is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Malchut is the Shekhinah. Where does this light come from? Okay? And obviously, it actually really comes from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, all right? But like I say, it's got to go through these step-down mechanisms because otherwise it's too great for us to handle, all right? So it goes down step by step by step by step through the different worlds, all right? Until it comes to the Abba Ve'ima Ila'in. Now, Abba Ve'ima Ila'in is a spiritual Partsuf, which is made from the first part of Bina. Do you remember I said that Bina has got, well, it's the first and second, the middle bit of Bina, or the first part of Bina. The Bina has got more than one aspect to it. Bina emerges, okay? It emerges from Chokhmah and says, oh yeah, well, I'm experiencing the light is being received at Chokhmah, I'm experiencing it, and the light its nature is all giving, and I want to be giving like the light. So that aspect of Bina, which is entirely concerned with giving, is called the highest Abba Ve'ima Ila'in. That's its name, okay? All right? And that's the consciousness from which the light actually comes, from our perspective. And this aspect of Bina is always face to face of Abba Ve'ima. And their union never stops. Why not? Because Bina only wants to be giving.
Yes.
All right? And there was never, ever, ever a tzimtzum on giving. The contraction, the tzimtzum that happened is only about what light we can receive. It was never about giving. Giving, you can give in all circumstances, all right? Giving is not contracted, only receiving is, all right? Giving meaning unconditional giving, like pure giving. So the moment we're in the light of pure giving, okay, there's no contraction at all. There's never any limit on that, all right? So Bina, that first part of Bina, which is only concerned with how can I give, is always face to face. It's always giving. Okay, so they know it doesn't worry it. It's not worried about whether it's not worried about anything. It just wants to give. Okay, there's always in the aspect of ki hafetz chesedu, the aspect of I want to be a giver. Even in the time of katnut, even in the time when the tzimtzum is reigning, it's just happy to give. Masha enkein lamata mehem, but below that first part of Bina, afilu b'yisro sabutavuna, which is the name of the Partsuf, which is connected with the part of Bina which is there to give to the children. Okay, what does it need to give? It needs to give them something of the light of Chokhmah to the children. So it does need to receive some light of Chokhmah for the children. That comes and goes, okay, depending on what state the children are in. If we're in line and in affinitive form and wanting to be giving, great, no problem. But if we're receiving for ourselves alone, it stops. Okay? And there are other reasons too. There are other times as well when the light stops. In fact, probably it's the normal consciousness. We're not in the, consciousness of awareness of God's presence all the time, in order to give us the space to come to him through free choice, okay, through giving, all right? So that's sort of, again, it comes and goes, all right? So although our blessings don't, in fact, go all the way up to the level of this high level of Bina, because that's above our attainment. And in fact, our abilities only take us up to the Malchut, to the Shekhinah. Seems to me that's great. Because unless once the blessing actually reaches the Shekhinah itself gets power, gets stronger, okay, by the fact of our blessing reaching it, okay? And that enables the Malchut and the Zerampin to themselves go up, because it becomes like this staircase effect, yeah? All right? So it goes up, step by step, up this staircase, okay, until we get to the two aspects of Bina, which then join together, and that is joining together of Chokhmah and Bina, and they now become face-to-face. And now the light can flow freely, all right, from Abba Ve'ima all the way down to
Us.
down to us, basically. I just noticed it says preparing live stream. I hope this thing did go out onto YouTube. Nevertheless, let's worry about it now. We can't do anything about that now. V'zesh katuv, dahu birchata sarkavan here butzina de lo nahir, vat kifle betukva takifle sarkel eila. The blessing strengthens the Shekhinah, which can now go up and join with the Zerampin, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And they together can go up to this high union, bringing the two parts of Bina together. And there they can receive the light of vessels and light, okay? And from there, the light can come back down through those levels, step by step by step, through that stepwise level where it actually comes to each and every one of us. All right? I think this is amazing. Don't you think? I mean, well, I think, okay. I think this is phenomenal. All right. The next thing he explains is that he goes into a little bit more detail of actually how the blessing goes up from step to step. It's through God's holy name, God's holy name, which is made up of the Membet. How much is Membet? 42 letters, okay? And he goes into detail of how that God's name actually takes us up step by step, raises the blessing up step by step. But what I want to do now is to go back to Rabbi Ashlag's commentary on the actual Zohar. Okay? Here we are. וכתיב, אכלת ושבעת ובירכת את השם אלוקיך, ואינון ברכן, אריק ברנש באינון מעלין מהו מקור העילאה, והתברכן כל אינון דרגין ומקורין, והתמעליין לארק על כל עולמין, והתברכן כל הוא כחדה. And so it's written, and you shall eat, and you shall be satisfied, and you shall bless the Lord your God. And with these blessings, a person with his words, pours down bounty from that high source, which is Bina, through which all the spiritual levels and the sources of the Zerampin and Malchut are blessed. And they themselves are filled with bounty, which they can then pour out over for all the worlds, and all are blessed together. Gimel. ועלדה יצטרך ברנש לשבר ראותי ברזה דברכן, בגין דהתברכון אברהנו בנין, כולה כחדה. דמן מברך לקודש בריך הוא, יתברך ונטיל חולקי מעינון ברכן, וקדמיתא דכל עולמה לטאטא. כיוון דשמע דקודש בריך הוא מתברך מתאמן, נחית ושאל רישי לחולקה קדמאה, והוקימנה דכתיב בכל מקום אשר אזכיר את שמי, אבוא אליך וברכתיך. כיוון דהי ברכה עטיה ושריה על רישי, מתאמן התפשט בכל עולמה. And it's written, and you shall eat, and you shall be satisfied. No, I think I read that bit before. Did I? Yes, next bit. And in this way, so a person needs to place his desire in the inner meaning of the blessings, bishvil sheyitbaruchu ha'avot, so that both the fathers, which are Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet of Zerampin, v'habanim, and that is also the Netzach Hod Yesod of Zerampin, will be blessed, all of them together. I mean, it's an amazing concept, okay, that through our bracha, who we're standing here in this lowly place, we're actually causing the higher levels of the Zerampin, of the Malchut, first of all, then the Zerampin, okay, and then Bina, to all be filled with light. I mean, it's a phenomenal idea, how the person here in this world has such an effect on the higher worlds, okay? And all are blessed together. And whoever is blessing the Holy Blessed One, mitbarech, is himself blessed. And takes his portion from all these blessings, bitachila, okay, first, and then l'kol ha'olam lamata, and then everybody else below. Kevan sheshamo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu nitbarech misham, and so because God's holy name is blessed from there, חלק הראשון מאלו הברכות יורד ושואל ראשו של המברך. The first portion of these blessings goes down and lies on the head of the one who's making the blessing. And we've already established שכתוב, בכל מקום אשר אזכיר את שמי, every place where I mention my name, אבוא אליך וברכתיך, I will come to you and bless you. ואחר שאותה ברכה באה ושורה על ראשו של המברך, and once that blessing has lain on the head of the one who's making the blessing, מתפשט משם לכל העולם. It emanates from there to all the world. You know what, in these days, when we're in such trouble, okay, Am Yisrael is in such difficulty, in such trouble, I think this is an amazing tool, okay, that we're given to say thank you and to bless for all the goodness in our lives. And there's a lot of goodness, and for all the things we enjoy. I mean, it's got a tremendous power, you know, it really has. And I think it's a tremendous tool. And I think one of the things I really do think is that, you know, everybody's different. And some people find prayer their tool, and some people find Tehillim, and some people find blessings. And you can see that blessings have, a very positive effect, a great effect. In fact, in the commentary here, a prayer works in a very similar way. So, I think this is a wonderful suggestion also for everybody who wants to help, and we all want to help in our own ways, take on blessings, and you might just find it, something which you feel you can do. Something's in the chat. Is it important to mention our forefathers in our blessing? No, the blessing is Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam Borei Peri Ha'adama. Whatever the sages told us is the formula of the blessing, you say the formula of the blessing. Okay? That's what it means. Okay? There you go, according to the formula. All right? That's what it means. Now, the Zohar continues, and I'm glad you asked that question, Tzipi, because the Zohar actually continues with it's a long piece of Zohar, this, on the blessings, and actually goes into what all the words of the blessing mean. Baruch, what does Baruch mean? Atah, okay? Hashem, Elokeinu, Melech HaOlam. Why does it begin with Atah? Why does it then go into the third person? The sages understood. They understood these dynamics, okay? And they organized the words of the blessings in precisely the right way for them to trigger the lights in this way, okay? So let me have a look and see. We go, 1 second, a little bit further on. It's very beautiful. I mean, it's really, really beautiful. This whole article is beautiful. Let's see. It's here we go. It's from here. He actually goes, the Zohar itself goes into, the inner meaning of every word. All right. And I think that this is something that it's important for us to understand, that because we have two types of prayer. We have prayer which is set prayers, and we have spontaneous prayer. And they're both important. They're different types of prayer. The set prayers also have their structure because the sages understood the precise mechanisms that we're talking about today. All right. And we learned a little bit about them, but only a little bit. It's quite obviously more complex than this little bit that we learned now. But the sages knew, they absolutely knew what every word means and its expression and how it triggers. And I mean, they knew all this. Okay. And so the set prayers are important because they are these energy, these codes for the Sfirot and how they function and how they work. And then, of course, we have the spontaneous outpouring of prayer, the spontaneous outpouring of blessing, okay, which is also important. I'm not knocking it in any way whatsoever, okay, on the contrary, but they're both important, all right? And we need to use both. There we go. What's in the chat? What sefer are we reading from? The Zohar itself. Okay, this is the Zohar, and underneath we have the Sefer the Perush HaSulam, which is Rabbi Ashlag's commentary, and the Marot HaSulam, which is the overall commentary that we learned a bit of today. Great, excellent. Anybody got any other questions? It was a really important piece of Zohar, I think, and I was very glad to have the opportunity to share it with you. I'm going to stop there now. Okay. All right. Anybody else got questions?
Yes, I just am having a question about the timing. We're going to be at the earlier time moving forward until you announce a later time again. We'll be back at the other time.
And now I think that we'll probably stay with a later time. More people find it more convenient. So we'll stay at 7:30 and we'll keep it like that all the time.
Okay, apologize for today. I got mixed up.
No problem at all. Everything's fine. Okay. Okay, Kath. Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. That's grand. All right. Very good. All right, everybody. Yes.
Talking about blessings, when you see something or somebody and you just spontaneously say a blessing, like you see a child with a blessing on his head, those kind of blessings also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's spontaneous blessings and there's the formula blessings. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you need both. Okay. We absolutely need both. So, you know, when we're what's called Birchot HaNehenin are given to us, the blessings of when before we eat or enjoy something. Okay. According to the Siddur, according to the formula, it's important to use those formulas. All right.
Yeah.
But the spontaneous blessing is also a wonderful blessing to offer God, you know, just like we have spontaneous prayer. We have both spontaneous prayer and formal prayer, and they're both important because they have different functions. Okay. So they're definitely both important. Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Wonderful questions. All right. Okay, everybody. I think that was great. And yeah. Anybody else? All right then. So I wish you all. Oh, there's something else here in the chat. 1 second. Chat. Ah, that's it. Kath explained it. I enjoyed it. All right, very good. So listen, everybody, have a wonderful Shabbat, and everybody in Sfat particularly have a nice quiet,
so much.
Quiet Shabbat. Okay. There's
Amen.
Hashem, a quiet Shabbat. Okay, my heart is with you all. All right. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank
you.
Bye, everyone.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Bye. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Bye then.
Shalom.